Exactly 1 year after the elections that saw the emergence of chairmen of the 20 local government and 37 local council development areas in the state, the Lagos State House of Assembly had seen the need to appraise the performance of these councils in the area of community development. It's nice to have you join us. This is Lagos Parliament, and I am Abimbola Agbebi.
Get closer to your legislators. See them in action as they deliberate on moving the state forward. Watch updates on weekly events, presentation of bills, passage of laws, adoption of resolutions, and many more. Also, get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week and watch the legislators. Observe plenary in Yoruba language. Lagos Parliament, every Thursday, 7:30 p.m.
In the month of July 2017, the Lagos State Governor Akinwumi Ambode swore in the chairman of the 57 local government and local council development areas in the state, charging them to be diligent in the discharge of their duties and transparent in the management of the resources committed in their care. In the midst of the celebrations, the governor also administered the oath of office on the new council bosses as they assumed office. Exactly 1 year after, the legislative arm of government felt the need to assess their performances, especially as it concerned the management of funds at their disposal, both from the federal and state levels. Lanre Moshood Oshun, a member of the House, mooted their idea.
Motion number 60 needs to evaluate the performance of the 20 local government council and 37 local council development areas in the last 1 year. This House notes that it is almost 1 year that the current administration in the 20 local government councils and 37 local council development areas assumed office in the states. Furthermore, notes the effort of the state government under the All Progressive Congress at impacting on the lives of the citizens of the state through series of developmental projects using the machinery of the local governments and local council development areas, is aware of the monthly funding of the local government through allocation from the federal government and the internally generated revenue in the 20 local government councils and 37 local council development areas in the states. Realizes that there is need to ascertain the performance of these LGCs/LCDAs in the state to drive the developmental policy initiative of the current administration. Realizes further that the Local Government Administrative Guidelines 2011 is very explicit on how the local government councils and local council development areas should be administered. Is convinced that the evaluation of the activities of the 20 local government councils and 37 local council development areas will disclose the level of performance, compliance with the financial regulation and administrative guidelines, with a view to determining how well they have fared in the last 1 year. Resolves to mandate the appropriate committee of the House to embark on the assessment and performance of the 20 local government council and 37 local council development areas, commencing from Monday, 16 July 2018. I so move.
Emphasizing the significance of local governments as the closest to the people, other lawmakers threw their weight behind the idea of auditing the activities of the council heads in the last 12 months.
The fact cannot be gainsaid that the local government is the closest to the people at the grassroots in terms of administration. We went to the electorate to seek for their votes with the expectation that we would deliver dividend of democracy to them. And I think it's very, very important that we must be inward-looking, we must be self-searching, we must see how impactful our local government administration have been at that level as a way of complementing the developmental strides that we have been seeing all over the state. And I think it's very important that from time to time, we continue to look at what they have done. So I think this motion is a good one, and I support it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I'll say that the issue we have now is that the on-the-spot assessment must be compulsory. I think it's beyond just assessing them with document and also about the administrative guidelines. I think the committee should also go further to have an on-the-spot assessment of their developmental strides. I think it's very, very key.
The motion is very apt, and in lending my voice to this motion, I feel that the House of Assembly should, as a matter of urgency, step up its agitation for accountability, because that's what we are known for. Now, we have given the local government an extension of 1 year. And for me, to whom much is given, much is expected. When the local government, some of them have been there for like 1 year or less, or about 1 year. But to say the least, there are some local government chairmen who have been working effectively, and some feels that, it's business as usual. We are expected to carry out our constitutional duty over the local government. If the local government fails, the whole world will point accusing fingers at us.
All that my colleagues have said, I just wish to say that we can use this opportunity to audit how relevant the various local governments have made legislative arm of the local government functional and relevant in the administration of the local government.
Well, in as much as I agree with my colleagues, I equally want us to look at the area of revenue generation, so that the local government don't just see themselves as toll collectors, where they come to the state to collect money. And secondly, to look at the project implementations. Some local governments were known to do programs. Most of the money given to them were majorly used for programs, not projects that can be seen and feel or touched after when they leave office. So we need to look into all this and see justification for the creation or otherwise of this local government, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
It is imperative that we go to the local government, just as we did during the stakeholder, that they gave us what they wanted. Is now good for us, because this period of the year is an election year, and we need a lot of electioneering, and that is a feedback to the people. We just have to know what is happening within our local government, and thereby, during another opportunity of the stakeholder meeting, we'll be able to now give them account or challenge them to do the needful at the right time, so that they can bring dividend of democracy back to the people. Thank you, sir.
Questions were also raised on the compliance level of local governments to the administrative guidelines set for their operations in the states.
We need to know how much have they collected over the so-called 1 year. How much have they expended? Have they complied with the financial regulation as espoused by Honorable Oshun? Are they in tandem with the administrative guideline provided by this House in 2011? For those that are not doing too well, we can caution them and let them whip them to order. For those that have done well, we will encourage them to do more. Obviously, at the end of the day, it is the constituents, the electorates that benefit from that. And as a House that is very responsible, we should not wait till when we are asking for another election before we can do what is needful. I think it's very, very pertinent, and I appreciate the mover and I support the motion. Thank you.
The Speaker felt that there was no better time than now to find out what taxpayers' money has been used for at the grassroots level in the year under review. He believes that the local governments should naturally complement the developmental strides of the state by embarking on some infrastructure projects in their communities.
The essence of creating local government, and in addition with the SNDA, is to encourage development at the grassroots. And if we have 57 local, 20 local government and 37 SCDA, if each one of them embarked on road construction, so times 57, we are talking about 57 roads in a year. And if they can do more than that, even school rehabilitation, I think we have accelerated development in all our local governments and SCDA.
In ensuring that the local government bosses do their jobs, a 9-man committee has been set up by the Speaker to be headed by Honorable Rotimi Olowo. The committee has the sole responsibility of auditing the activities of the local government chairman in the last 1 year.
Get closer to your legislators. See them in action as they deliberate on moving the state forward. Watch updates on weekly events, presentation of bills, passage of laws, adoption of resolutions, and many more. Also, get a chance to meet the lawmaker of the week and watch the legislators. Observe plenary in Yoruba language. Lagos Parliament, every Thursday, 7:30 p.m. on TVC News Nigeria. Lagos Parliament, bringing the legislature closer to you.
More ministries, departments and agencies in Lagos are still thronging the State House of Assembly to take part in the routine mid-year budget review for the year 2018. The exercise, which commenced last week, had the lawmakers in the brainstorming session as a seek to find out how well the ministries had performed in meeting the expected revenue targets for the year 2018. It's that time of the year when the Appropriation Committee alongside subcommittees of the House sit up to look into the books as they jointly appraise the performance of the mid-year budget for the year 2018.
We've heard your submission so far. We're also quite pleased with what you have said, even though we're still going to, as we progress, look into the books.
Recall that the year 2018 budget of 1.046 trillion was presented by Governor Akinwumi Ambode to the House in December 2017 and was later passed into law by the lawmakers after a series of legislative tinkering. It was thereafter signed into law by the state governor for the fiscal year to begin in full swing. One notable character of the executive arm since the start of the year has been the various developmental works dotting the landscape of the state. But this, the lawmakers say, is not enough to appraise their performance as far as the state budget is concerned. With the first half of the year gone, it is time for the lawmakers to scrutinize the performance of the various ministries, departments and agencies while they justify their spending of the funds allocated to them.
So what we're doing presently is to see the budget performance as it is or as it ought to be and as it were. So that will form our opinion that truly what the executive told us they are doing, truly they are doing it. Fund release were truly utilized for the purpose it was meant for. And to enable us form an opinion on what year 2019 budget will look like. You understand? Because if the budget perform abysmally this time around, it shows that if it is in the area of revenue, it shows that our projections for revenue generation may be wrong. Or their projection for revenue generation as forwarded to us, which we consented to, may be wrong.
And how do you tell the taxpayers that their money is being judiciously expended? Is for you to have a review of what the state government is using that money for. And that is what we're doing at the present time. Mr. Speaker has rightly said that we should start the mid-year review to make sure that every single penny is judiciously spent. We say kobo in Nigeria, but when we talk about it in, when we're just talking in proverbs or parables, we say penny.
It leads to accountability. That's why we're here. It helps us checkmate, the work of the executive. We also carry on oversight functions on some of the projects we don't feel comfortable about, and it's perfect. Then we now see how far the budget has performed. So it's mid-year, knowing that we're getting into an election year. What do we expect? What do we need to see? It's totally amazing. It's a blessing to be here.
For the chairman of the committee, the exercise has been quite impressive, but the ministries have been advised to meet revenue targets before the close of the fiscal year.
Thank you very much, honorary members. Ministry of Science and Tech, thank you for coming. We've gone through your half-year, that's your mid-year to the year 2018 review. The information you've provided for us, well, we are satisfied, I understand, But more importantly, we want to enjoin you to ensure that you meet your revenue targets for the year before, if possible, surpass it before the end of the year. Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner, for coming.
While the exercise continued, some of the ministry heads who have had to face the appropriation committee on various occasions had this to say about the legislators.
I will not use the word drilling. I would rather want to look at it from the point of accountability. Whatever money we spend is money that belongs to the people. And there must be an institution somewhere that wants to look at everything and make sure you have followed the procurement in the proper manner, the procurement process, and all the procurement laws have not been violated, and to make sure that the money has been judiciously expended and in line with the approvals that have been given. Because the budget itself is a law. It's an appropriation law, and as a government we are obliged to implement the law.
You can call it hot seat because they will ask questions, they want to know so many things. Sometimes the questions they will ask you is what you will be, you have facts and figures readily available to show and back your answers with. Sometimes you don't really have, and you need to dig deep back to the ministry to get them. And so therefore you might come once, twice, depending on how you've been able to satisfy them. But the House is just there to look at things and to make sure that the government is running according to plan. They're doing very well. This is one of the House of Assembly that you be proud to be associated with at any point in time. They are very diligent, very responsible, very up and doing people in here, and this is one of the institutions that people generally use in measuring as a standard in measuring other House of Assembly.
For these members of the executive, the determination to move Lagos to another level of development remains a collaboration that works between the three arms of government.
I see it as a cooperation process between the two arms of government, and we must always work together. An approved budget, so far so good. We are getting very good support from the governor. If you remember what he said at the beginning of the year, when the budget was being approved, he said he was going to focus on environment reform, transportation reform, and energy reform. So our ministry is one of the three major pillars of the reforms that the government is doing this year. So to that extent, we've seen a lot of support from the executive arm, and we're also seeing a lot of support from the legislative arm. Because what we do and what we are planning to implement now as our next line of business is the one that will improve power supply in Lagos, which is the NEPA light, not street light now. So there is nobody in Lagos or in Nigeria today that if you bring a solution for power and they see it's credible and they can see the roadmap, I'm sure they will support it. So the House is in order to be giving us the support they are giving, and the governor is in absolute order.
The lawmakers have a few more weeks to wrap up the exercise, after which its submissions would be presented to the House for further deliberations. In the bid to curb all forms of antisocial behaviors in its constituency, especially with schools on holiday in Lagos, a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly has decided to organize a football competition for more than 30 public primary schools in its community. This gesture, he noted, would not only serve as a break from academic activities, but could also turn out to become a means of livelihood for the young stars in the nearest future. Lagos Parliament crew was at the tournament. It was a most colorful atmosphere as more than 30 public primary schools gathered to show their skills in football at the famous Evans Square, Ebute Metta, right in the heart of Lagos mainland local government area. The lawmaker representing the area in the State House of Assembly, Oladele Adekoye, was on hand to receive dignitaries who had come to watch the tournament. Describing football as life itself, he cited a quote on the significance of football competition among children in the primary school level as a sporting activity that penetrates deeper than expected.
It goes beyond playing football. We are teaching these kids the core values that will make them good sportsmen, and also making them understand the essence of combining education and sports from an early age. Besides the aforementioned benefits, permit me to name a few more for the benefit of our children as they participate in the 2018 Mainland Constituency 1 Cup. Number 1, it guarantees their physical, emotional, and intellectual growth. This is common knowledge and hardly needs further elucidation. All work and no play makes that a dull boy. After all, it is a common saying.
Shortly after his address, the competition started with a symbolic kickoff done by their representative in the state parliament.
Together for him. The match proper will start now.
On this day, Adekunle Anglican Primary School and Ayetoro Primary School in Makoko area slugged it out.
Good. And that's going to be a corner kick. A corner kick to Ayetoro Primary School. Number 10 Jesse to take the penalty.
All eyes were trained on these youngsters as they cleverly displayed their skills on the football pitch.
The goal. So, ladies and gentlemen,
it is the lawmaker's desire to groom these youngsters in sporting activities as part of his determination to promote grassroots sport in the state.
I was a footballer myself in starting off, and I was very prominent in the community. My initial popularity that I had was through this idea of playing football before I ventured into politics when I grew up. And it made politics easy for me because a lot of people have already known me even before I decided to join politics. That being the case, you will not expect somebody like me with my background to leave football in its entirety. Football, like any other sports, like you said, helps in emotional and physical growth of kids or pupils of this nature. Not only that, there are some other virtues that people don't normally realize that come up even in the course of playing football. You don't know, as you continue to do that, you are inculcating certain virtue, like I said, selflessness. As simple as that. Apart from that, teamwork. These are virtues that come handy even as you play football. So for me, I love, not only playing, even for leisure, but encouraging young ones to also take it as a point of view to play football.
The 2018 Mainland Constituency 1 football competition was also, among other reasons, designed to positively engage these pupils while their holidays last.
It's going to help the government, even the member of the community, to discover some of our talents among our boys. I want to say that this kind of competition have come here, have come up like this for a long time. We have not seen people to organize this kind of a football. So as this, our House of Assembly member is coming up with this idea, it is a welcome development. And as I've said, it's going to make us to discover a lot of talents among the students. Many of them, they are talented footballers. They are potential footballers. But unfortunately, we are unable to discover them. But the kind of this competition will bring them out.
It's coincided with the time that, holidays are on. And you know what that means. Devil finds work, like they say, for an idle hand. When you have a long-time holiday of the type that they have now, what do? Even normal school period, we have always lamented the fact that reading culture is fast departing from us. So talk less of when they are not going to be in school. So there's a need to engage them so that they can concentrate on something at least, and they will put less pressure on their parents. For me, I think it will also serve in ensuring that parents are made to enjoy some peace at home while they are sure that their children are busy doing something, which may also at the end of the day fetch them not a small thing. Like I also said in my speech, we know the Okochas now, we know the Kanus. So apart from all the other reasons that I've given that could serve as benefit for them, the truth is that it can also serve as net ticket for them in future. I mean, who says, we cannot have the Kanus here, we cannot have the Okochas here.
In every competition, there is always a winner and a loser. Adekunle Primary School got the first goal in the tournament that later had both schools equalizing with penalty kicks. Adekunle Primary School eventually won the opening match.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's all over. It's all over. Adekunle Primary School made the goal. Adekunle Primary School. They made the goal, ladies and gentlemen.
Adekunle Agricultural Primary School scored 4-3.
I belong to Ayator African Church Primary School. It's fair. It's okay. It's a good match. The better side of the game won the game. It's fair and fair. It's okay. Winning my next game, I have that confidence in myself.
Other highlights of the competition were presentation of footballs and football kits to all the teams that participated in the tournament.
And with that, it's a wrap on this week's episode of Lagos Parliament. Thank you for joining us. To catch up with previous episodes of the program, log on to www.youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Abimbola Agbebi. See you next time.